Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining. Just give me a second. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your association. We'll start our Bhakti Vaibhav session and we'll offer our Mangalacharan prayers and then we'll go ahead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रिये हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिचारु स्वामिनिति नामिने जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः आनंद लीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्य छवि सुंदराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रस प्रदाय चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपः तं हम वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your wonderful association. We'll continue with our Bhakti Vaibhav and we will, hopefully, Krishna willing, we'll try to finish the chapter. That is chapter number 4. So, yes, what we did in the last chapter, let's do a quick review. I'll request devotees, they can raise their hands. We will discuss that what were the 3 further questions that were asked by Shaunakadi Rishi to Sutta Goswami. Quickly raise your hand and we will discuss. Yes. Okay. Saudamani Sundari Mataji, Narhari Prabhu and Ishwar Krishna Prabhu. Okay, yes, Saudamani Sundari Mataji, what was the first question?
Dandamai Pranam Mataji.
Dandam.
First question was about Srimad Bhagavatam, that where, when, and how, and on whose inspiration Srila Vyasdev compiled Srimad Bhagavatam.
Excellent. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Narhari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The second question was about the speaker Sukadev Goswami. The questions that were asked was Sukadev Goswami was so renounced that he would even hardly stay at any place where long enough to milk a cow. How is it possible that such a personality, stayed for such a long time and that too spoke this to the king on the banks of the Ganga? So that was the second question.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. So first was about the inquiries of Srimad Bhagavatam. Second was about Srila Sukadev Goswami. Yes, Ishwar Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna Maharaj. The third question was for Parikshit Maharaj. He was such a great king, and it was regarding his birth, activities, and renunciation,
Excellent. About Parikshit Maharaj, that he was such a wonderful king. He was in his prime youth. Then how come he renounced everything and took shelter of the banks of river Ganga? Excellent. So then, after hearing these questions of Shaunakadi Rishi, then our Sutta Goswami, he tried to answer. And first he took the about Srimad Bhagavatam. And about discussing about Srimad Bhagavatam, he brought in the topic of Srila Vyasadeva. So yes, again, I request devotees to raise their hands. So when Vyasadeva appeared, quickly, what was the time frame? Apart from Saudaminis, all three of you know. I want them. Yes, Indu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So he appeared towards in the third Sandhya of Dwapar Yuga.
Very nice. He appeared in the third Sandhya, which is known as Sandhyam Sharupa. He appeared in the third Sandhya of Dwapar Yuga. And then he discussed about the different qualities of Kali Yuga, that how people, they will lose in their bodily strength, they will be durmedhan, they will be dull-witted, they will be impatient because of the lack of goodness, they will be unlucky, durbhagan. So this way, he was discussing about, he was meditating upon the qualities of Kali Yuga. And then he thought that no, people of Kali Yuga, it's impossible for them to understand the entire Veda, because it was described that how were the Vedas? The Vedas were like an unsorted collection of various jewels. So Srila Vyasadeva thought that no, it's impossible. I need to segregate the jewels and put them into different boxes. So first it was Yajur Veda, which was the one Veda. And then he divided that into 4 different kind of Vedas, and then he wrote Itihasas, Puranas, and Mahabharata. Again, I need 5 devotees to raise their hand so that we can discuss about who were the different professors of different Vedas. Okay. Yes. First is Shamagopal Prabhu. Who first tell me what were the different sections that Srila Vyasadeva divided?
Yeah, the 4 Vedas, Rig Ved, Samved, Yajurved, Atharved, and the Itihasa. Itihasa was like Rama and Mahabharata.
Very nice. So Rig Veda, who was the professor?
Paila Muni.
Yes, Phaila Muni or Phaila Rishi. Thank you. Yes, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu, who was the professor of Samaveda?
Jaimini Rishi.
Jaimini Rishi. Very nice.
Jaimini.
Yes. Indulekha Mataji, who was of Yajurved?
Vaishampayana.
Vaishampayana Rishi. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, more devotees I need.
Mataji, can I tell Mataji, there's a problem in my system.
Okay, sure.
Other one is Angira Muni.
Angira Muni of which Veda?
Other one Veda.
Atharva Veda. Excellent. Is Angira or Sumanta Muni? Anything is okay. Yes, Saudamini Mataji. Who was for the Puranas?
Romaharshana.
Romaharshana. Very nice. Excellent. And who was Romaharshana?
Father
Sutta
of
Goswami's
father of Sudha.
Father of Suta
Goswami,
Goswami.
yes.
Excellent. Excellent. So you all are on the right. Yes. Yes, Preeti Mataji, you were raising your hand. You want to add something?
No, I wanted to answer questions.
You don't have to. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. So then he thought that, okay, these were the divisions that he divided the Vedas. He gave them to the different professors, and these professors were his disciples. And these disciples then further went and gave it to their disciples, grand disciples of Srila Vyasadeva. And finally, these branches were segregated. Then Vyasadeva thought that, okay, I have done so much. And he said that I need everybody, that like Shudras, Stris, and Dvijabandhus also to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam. So out of compassion, the great sage thought that it is wise that this would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. And we discussed that how this is the quality of a saintly person. They will always think for the ultimate benefit of the people in general. So not the, what do you say? I'm sorry, I'm muting. Not just the benefit, the material benefit. They are not worried about the material benefit, but they are worried about the ultimate benefit, so that they can achieve that ultimate goal of life. And understanding this out of compassion, he compiled the great historical narration called the Mahabharata for women, laborers, friends, and the twice borns, that are Dvijabandhus. So we read the purport last time, and we discussed that who were the Dvijabandhus and how the purificatory process of Garbhadhana Samskar, then Upanayana Samskar has to happen. And then why Mahabharata only? Because in Mahabharata, the entire philosophy of the Vedas is embedded. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The entire 4 Purusharthas were mentioned. Now, this was Vyasadeva thing that he did it. Okay. Now, after doing all this, what happened? This is the verse from where we are supposed to start. Text 26. Evam pravritasya sada bhutanam shreyasi dvija sarvatmekenapi yada na tushtadhridayam tataha. Evam. Thus, what he did? Thus, he engaged. He was engaged. Pravritasya means he was always engaged. And sada. Sada means always. He was always engaged. He was always engaged in what? In bhutanam shreyasi. Bhutanam, we know the living entities. The living entities, and shreyasi means the ultimate good. Dvijaha. Dvija refers to twice born. That means with Vyas, he was always engaged in the ultimate good for all the living entities, because he divided these Vedas, he wrote Itihasas, Puranas, Samhitas. So thus Suta Goswami is saying that he has done. So Dvija here, Suta Goswami is referring Dvija to the sages of Naimisharanya. Okay, so he's saying, O Dvijas, O the twice born Brahmanas who have assembled in Naimisharanya, thus Vedyas was always engaged in the ultimate good of all the living entities. And not only that, Sarvatmekenapi yada. He was Sarvatma, means wholeheartedly, with his heart, he was engaged. It was not some superficial engagement. By all means, through his whole heart, he was engaged. But then he says, Natushtad hridayam tataha. His hridaya, his heart, his mind was still not satisfied. It was not na tushtya. Tushti means getting some satisfaction. Na tushtya. It was not satisfied. Tataha, at that time when he wrote all these, and he compiled the Vedas into different sections. Still, his heart was not satisfied, even though wholeheartedly, always, constantly, he was engaged in the ultimate welfare of all the living entities. Devotees can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. O twice born Brahmana, still his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, O twice Brahmanas, he was referring to, Sutta Goswami was referring to all the sages of Naimisharanya. And he said the Vyasadev mind was not satisfied. In purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Vyasadeva was not satisfied with himself. Although he had prepared literatures of Vedic value for the all-round welfare of the general mass of people, it was expected that he would be satisfied with all activities, but ultimately he was not satisfied. So again, I request devotees to raise their hand so that we can discuss that, is satisfaction good or satisfaction bad? Do you want to say? Yes, Saudamini Mataji, go ahead.
In different kathas, Mataji, I heard that in spiritual life, we are always satisfied, but satiation is not there. So I would like to comment that satisfaction is good to that extent we are not satiated. It's not like that, okay, we had enough. Not like that.
Okay. Okay. Very good input. Yes. Yes, Padmini Mataji.
Mataji, satisfaction it's basically depends on the soul activity. That's what we have been reading. So anybody wants to have the activity associated with soul that is along with Krishna, then we get satisfaction. The other time, anyway, we are not going to get satisfaction. Whatever we like.
Yeah, you discussed about like satisfaction, but my question is that, is satisfaction good or not?
Yes, Mataji, that's what I'm coming to say. Satisfaction is good if it is oriented towards the soul activities.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna Mataji. This satisfaction is good if it is for the materialistic life, but for spiritual life, you should be unsatisfied, like, keep on hankering for more and more devotional service.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishwara Krishna Prabhu. So this was I was looking for. When it comes the satisfaction, Narhari Prabhu, you also want to add something?
Mataji, I was remembering that verse from the 11th canto, Bhakti Paresha Anubhavo Virakti Ranatra Chai Chatrika Ekakala Prapadyamanasya Tashnatasyu Tushti Pushti Kshudapayo Anugasham. That there is tushti, there is satisfaction, there is pushti, there is nourishment, and kshudapayo, there is, just like a person.
Hunger is destroyed.
Yes, Mataji. I was wanting to share that, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Narhari Prabhu. So yes, as Narhari Prabhu mentioned that how when we take every morsel of food, suppose if it's a hungry man and hungry man is taking the morsel of food, he get the whole plate of prasadam. So as soon as that person takes the food, what happened with every morsel, the shuddhapayo means the hunger is getting destroyed. And not only that, there is kind of tushti, there is kind of satisfaction, and also pushti, there is a nourishment that is happening in the body. So same case is of devotional service. And as Ishwar Krishna Prabhu said, is what I was looking for, that when it comes to material things, it is must that we should be satisfied, that contentment should be there, that I have enough. Okay, that kind of satisfaction should be there. So when it comes to material things, there should be not much hankering. There should be kind of satisfaction. But when it comes to spiritual activities, if we get satisfied, if we get satiated, as Padmini Mataji and Saudamini Mataji, everybody mentioned, that if we are satisfied, then that is not a good sign. because that satisfaction is not good. If we are satisfied in our spiritual thing, okay, I have chanted enough, I have done my Gayatris, I have read Srila Prabhupada books, now I am satisfied. No, that should not be the case. That laulyam, that greed is actually the root cause for our advancement in spiritual activities. But when the same laulyam, when the same greed is applied to the material things, then that will doom our spiritual life. So here, Srila Vyasadeva was not satisfied with himself. Yes, he did a lot. He did a lot for the ultimate benefit of all the people in general, but still his heart was not satisfied. And because he had that greed, he had that laulyam that I want to do something more and more, led him to come in contact with a spiritual master and helped him to write this brilliant scripture that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So yes, when it comes to our spiritual life, we should never feel that I have done enough. As Mataji, Saudamani Mataji was also saying, that satiation should not be there, that I have done enough. That should not be the case. And that same thing was in the heart of Srila Vyasadeva. Natushyam hridayam tataha. At that time, his heart, hridaya, was not satisfied. Then what happened? Nati prasidat hridaya sarvatyastate shuchau vitarkayan viviktastha idam chovacha dharmavit. So that sage, who? Srila Vyasadeva, he was dharmavit. He know about the essence of all the religion. He was dharmavit. So what happened? Na pratisa. Na prasidat hridaya. So that means his heart, hridaya, was not satisfied. His heart was not satisfied. So what he did, sarasvatyas tate shuchau means Sarasvatyas means at the bank of river Saraswati. So we read in the previous section also that Vyasadeva was on the bank of river Saraswati. So because there was some dissatisfaction in the heart, he sat on the bank of river Saraswati, Sarasvatyas tate. He sat and he purified himself. So after getting purified on the banks of river Saraswati, he sat on the banks and vitarkayan. Vitarkayan means he was considering. In the mind, there is acception and rejection that happens. Okay, so that is what tark and vitark chal raha tha, means he was thinking, he was contemplating that what is the root cause by which I am not able to get satisfied. So vitarkayan, he was having that acceptance and rejection in the mind, and he was contemplating, he was considering. And viviktastha means he was all by himself. Nobody was there. He was situated in a lonely place, and his heart was not satisfied. Idam cho vachaha dharmavit. And he said to himself, Idam cho vacha. Vacha means to say. And what he said to himself only. But what he said, that we will see in the next verse. But here Sutta Goswami is mentioning that how Vyasadeva's heart was very much dissatisfied. He sat on the banks of river Saraswati. He got purified and he was contemplating in his heart that where he was going wrong. What has happened that in spite of doing all this, he was somehow not satisfied. And considering this, he was talking to himself. Idam cho vacha dharmavit. So anybody can read the translation?
The sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, because he knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself.
Thank you, Mataji. So Prabhupada writes, the sage began to search out the cause of not being satisfied at heart. Perfection is never attained unless one is satisfied at heart. This satisfaction of heart has to be searched out beyond matter. So, this satisfaction that he was looking for was not some material satisfaction. So, it was beyond matter. So, he wants to know that somehow I should get satisfaction. Yes, the living entities always run after satisfaction in the spiritual life. They want to get satisfied, but the same longing for satisfaction is what is laulyam, is greed that help them to advance in their spiritual life. So now what happened when he was contemplating, and what did he talk to himself? Let's see the words 28 and 29. धृतावृत्तेन हि मया छन्दांसि गुरवोग्नः मानीता निर्वलिक्येन गृहीतं चानुशासनम् भारताव्यपदेशेन हि अम्नार्थ्याश्च सप्रदर्शितः दृश्यते यत्र धर्मादि स्त्रिये शूद्राभिरप्युता. Somebody can read the translation.
I
Yes,
okay,
Shama,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, I have under strict disciplinary vows unpretentiously worship the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of Mahabharata, by which even women, Shudras, and others, friends of the twice born, can see the path of religion.
Excellent. Thank you, Prabhu. So now Vyasadeva was saying that I have under strict disciplinary vows, dhrita vrattena, and unpretentiously. Unpretentiously means without any pretense, without any natak. Unpretentiously means wholeheartedly, nirvyalikena. Unpretentiously, he has worshipped the Vedas. Not only the Vedas, he has worshipped the spiritual masters and the altar of sacrifice. He has followed all the rules of disciplic successions. And then he has given the explanation of Mahabharata that deals in what? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And for whom he has done? He has done for the women, for the Shudras, and for the Dvija Bandhus, so that they can also see the path of religion. So this is how he was talking to himself. He was contemplating, considering that what all he has done. So he was talking to himself. Prabhupada says no one can understand the import of the Vedas without having undergone a strict disciplinary vow and disciplic succession. Even for our material things, to achieve some material goals of our life, we need discipline in our life. So to attain material goals, if we need discipline, then what to talk about attaining our spiritual goals? So definitely one has to undergo a strict disciplinary vow, and one has to be in parampara, in that disciplic succession, following a bona fide spiritual master. The Vedas, the spiritual masters, and sacrificial fire must be worshipped by the desiring candidate. If the Vedas, that means the scriptures, if the Shastras are not considered, or the spiritual master is not considered, or our sacrificial fire here means doing our strict disciplinary actions. If all these are not followed, then definitely we cannot achieve our spiritual goals. To achieve our spiritual goals, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra has to be taken into consideration and should be followed. Their instructions should be followed as one's life and soul. All these intricacies of Vedic knowledge are systematically presented in the Mahabharata, because the entire Mahabharata deals with Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha in the four Purusharthas. for the understanding of women class, the laborer class, and the unqualified members of Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya families. In this age, the Mahabharata is more essential than the original Vedas. In this age means in this age of Kali Yuga, because there is less of longevity, the less of the environment which is not conducive for Krishna consciousness. Because in the previous verses also we saw that there are so many defects of Kali Yuga. People are quarrelsome, people are misguided, people are unlucky, the longevity is less. So how it is possible that one can just stick to the Vedas? So for all these people, especially for the age of Kali, people who are born in this age of Kali, Vyasadeva, he wrote Mahabharata. And that Mahabharata is more essential than the original Vedas. Because in Mahabharata, what is there? Our Bhagavad Gita is there, which is the manual of our human form of life. How to lead one's life, how to understand the karma aspect, how to understand the prakriti aspect, how to understand our own position. Who am I? Who is Krishna? What is my relationship with Krishna? All these answers are there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and that Srimad Bhagavad Gita is in Mahabharata. So this way, our Vyasadeva was contemplating. And while contemplating and talking to himself, he comes to one conclusion. Tathapi batame dhayo hi atma chaivatmana vibhu asampanna eva bhati brahma varchasya sattama. Somebody can read the translation.
I'm feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas.
Thank you, Mataji. Tathapi batame dahyo. Dahyo means somebody who is situated in the body. The body is known as deha, right? And deha, in deha there is a dehi. And so he's saying, Tathapi batame dahyo, the soul that is situated in my body. Vaibhav, although I know or I have gone through the complete austerity and knowledge, still asampanna, I'm feeling very, very incomplete. Not only incomplete, here he says Brahma Varchasya Sattamaha. So if we take it as asattamaha, means that he was also feeling inferior. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that one meaning we can take it as Sattama, that is supreme, that I am feeling incomplete, though I myself equipped with everything which is required with the Vedas. But it can also mean that not only incomplete, asampanna, but also he was feeling inferior, getting that inferiority complex in his mind. Purport Prabhupada writes, undoubtedly Srila Vyasadeva was complete in all the details of Vedic achievements. Yes, he was complete. He has full knowledge. He has gone through immense austerity. And that is why he was complete in all details of Vedic achievements. Otherwise, the task that was done by Srila Vyasadeva was an impossible task. Not an ordinary person can do that task. So, of course, he was complete. Purification of the living entity, a living being submerged in matter, is made possible by the prescribed activities in the Vedas. But the ultimate achievement is different. In the Vedas, you can find all dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But even moksha, even getting liberation, is not the ultimate goal for the living entities, for the human beings. Unless that is attained, the living entity, even though fully equipped, cannot be situated in the transcendental normal stage. So if someone is performing all the dharmic activities and with activities gaining lot of artha, using that wealth in fulfilling their own desires, karma, and finally, even after fulfilling all those desires, their karma, they get frustrated and then they long for salvation, they long for liberation, that is moksha. All this cannot situate oneself in the transcendental condition because dharma, artha, kama, and moksha are still of this world. Yes, with moksha, you are liberated, but again, it depends. How and what kind of liberation are you getting? So Srila Vyasadeva said, no, this is not. We need something higher. Need something higher so that ultimate goal of this living entity can be achieved. Srila Vyasadeva appeared to have lost the clue, and therefore he felt dissatisfaction. And then he got the answer that why he was feeling dissatisfaction. So the answer, when we contemplate more in our heart, then our Supreme Lord, who is situated in our heart as Paramatma, as Chaitya Guru, he guides us. He guides us always. Whenever we are in some problem or something that is not keeping our mind stable, it is always a good habit to sit nicely in front of your lordships and contemplate on what has happened. And then we will get the answer. And that answer is guided by first by our Chaitya Guru. Later, whatever answer we get in whatever field of our life, we can consult with our spiritual masters and seniors. So this way, Vyasadeva also, when he felt dissatisfaction, he thought, Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupita priya paramhamsanam ta eva hi achyuta priya. Kim va bhagavata dharma. From his heart, the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, as Chaitya Guru, guided him that he was feeling despondent, he was feeling dissatisfied in the heart because he has not exclusively defined Bhagavad Dharma. So, what is Bhagavad Dharma? Bhagavad Dharma is the devotional activities that is done by the living beings. So he has not described explicitly, he has not described about the devotional activities. That devotional activities which is priya, which is very dear to whom? To Paramhamsas. It is very dear to the perfected beings. Ta eva hi achyuta priya. And not only to the perfected beings, that devotional activities is very dear even to the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord also says, right, that I am satisfied only by devotional service. No amount of strength, no amount of beauty, no amount of wealth can capture or captivate the Supreme Lord. Tushyati, the Supreme Lord is satisfied only by bhakti. So somebody can read the translation.
This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord.
Thank you, Bimal Prabhu. So, our Vyasadeva, he came to this conclusion by the help of the Supreme Lord, Paramatma in his heart, who acted as his Chaitya, who's a Chaitya Guru, right? So, he came to this conclusion. Now, somebody asks, like this question is normally not in Bhakti Vaibhav, but in general, that did Vyasadeva knew why he felt dissatisfied in the heart? Yes, he knew. He knew that he has not specifically pointed out devotional service of the Lord, that devotional service which is very dear to the Lord and to the devotees of the Lord. This is because he was not able to, he was not satisfied. So yes, he knew, but he need to validate that point, that whatever he is thinking, whatever Paramatma is guiding, still we need to validate, because sometimes it happens that the voice get mixed up, whether this is the voice of my mind or really this is the voice of my heart, or Paramatma himself is guiding. Sometimes it happens. So we need to validate. And how can that be validated? When we come in the contact of spiritual master or our some spiritual seniors. So when we validate that point, then it gets confirmed. But in his heart, he was guided. So the dissatisfaction, Prabhupada writes, which was being felt by Srila Vyasadeva is expressed herein in his own words. This was felt by the normal condition, for the normal condition of the living being in the devotional service of the Lord. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living entity can become fully satisfied. So that activity of devotional service, doing the tinge of bhakti that has to be added in all our activities, was missing, that Chila Vyasadeva didn't mention. This defect was felt by him when Narad Muni, his spiritual master, reached him, and it is described as follows. So he was simply contemplating, and through his Paramatma, he got this, that yes, because he has not explicitly explained the aspect of devotional service, which was very dear to the Supreme Lord and to the devotees. So that was the reason for his dissatisfaction. And as he was contemplating, his spiritual master came in front of him, and that is Narad Muni. Tasyaivam khilam atmanam manyamana sakhidyata krishnasya narado bhagyad ashramam pragudharatam. Tasyaivam, thus, that khilam. Khilam means inferior. He was getting that inferiority complex. And he was thinking, manyamanasya khidyata. So manyamanasya means in his mind only he was regretting, oh, I missed the most essential point to describe, and that is devotional service. Because it's only through devotional service that the Lord will be satisfied and the living entities will be able to get their ultimate goal of life. So this way he was regretting, oh, I missed, what did I do? He was feeling so inferior and he was regretting. At that time, who was regretting? Krishnasya, our Krishna, Krishna Dwapayana Vedavyas, his full name. So he's also known as Krishna. So that Krishna, he was feeling, he was regretting. And at that time, Narado Bhagya, with great fortune, Narada Muni, he abhagyat means he came there. Where he came? Ashramam. He came at the ashram of Vedvyas. Prag udharatam. And then he said. So somebody can read the translation.
As mentioned
before, you can read, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. As mentioned before, Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa on the bank of the Saraswati, just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Indu Mataji. So this was the condition of Srila Vyasadeva. But at that time, Narad Muni came. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the vacuum felt by Vyasadeva was not due to the lack of knowledge, because knowledge-wise, he was very good. He assimilated, he compiled all the Vedas, Mahabharata, Itihasas, Puranas. So there was no lack of knowledge. But then what was the defect? What was the lacking point? Was the Bhagavad Dharma. So Prabhupada writes, this Bhagavad Dharma is purely devotional service of the Lord, to which monoist has no access. So this is not, Bhagavad Dharma is not some Jnana Marg or some Karma Marg. This Bhagavad Dharma is pure the process of Bhakti Yoga. And this Bhakti Yoga has, the monoist means those who are impersonalist, they have no access to it. The monoist is not counted amongst the Paramhamsas. So just like any Jnana Yoga is not considered to be the Bhagavad Dharma, similarly, the Jnanis are not the Paramhamsas. Who are the Paramhamsas? They are the most perfect of the renounced order of life. They follow this renounced order of life, not out of any frustration, but out of complete knowledge. So Jnanis, they also sometimes follow the renounced order of life. But at what stage? When they feel frustrated, when they feel that this world is worthless, and they try to get this, they try to renounce everything and follow this renounced order of life. But that is not. Even the grahasthas are also sannyasis. Prabhupada writes in various purports, especially in Bhagavad Gita also Prabhupada mentions this, that even those who are in the grahastha ashram, they are also renounced. How come they are renounced? Because it's not the renunciation of the activity, but it's about the renunciation of the fruits of activities. The grahasthas, they renounce the fruits of activities. So they are also in sometimes called as renounced order of life. But Paramhamsas, definitely we know that there are the sannyasis, there are the 4 levels: Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivajakacharya, and Paramhamsas. Kutichak are those sannyasis when they follow this renounced order of life. Of course, they are of Bhagavad Dharma only. They are in the Bhakti Yoga process only. And they renounced, but they are still in the outskirts of the village. They don't interact much in the village activities. They are little outside, but their food is still coming from the village. Village people only, they go and provide the food, and the sannyasi, he sustain himself on that food that is given by the villagers. So that is Kutichak. But when he advances more, he follows another level, that is Bahudak. And Bahudak level is when he just don't rely on the food that is given by the villagers, but he roams around in the neighborhood villages and he does some madhukari. Okay, so that is Bahudak. And then comes Parivajakacharya. Parivajakacharya is when they even cross the 7 oceans, like our Srila Prabhupada, he did. So he is Parivajakacharya. Of course, Prabhupada is on the highest level of Paramhamsa, but for the preaching purpose, to tell the ignorant people, the general mass of people, to train them in Krishna consciousness, they roam around. So that means their only activity is preaching. That is Parivajakacharya. And then finally comes the Paramhamsas. The Paramhamsas are those who are having this python mentality. After enough of preaching, they just situate themselves at one place, and then they have this ajgar thing, means whatever is provided, they will get. If there is no food that is provided, they will sleep without food only. So that is what is Paramhamsa stage. Our acharyas, even Srila Prabhupada, he was on the Paramhamsa level. But following the instructions of his spiritual master, that is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came little one level down and followed this mood of Parivajakacharya and crossed these 7 seas and came to west just for preaching, to follow the instructions of his spiritual master. So here Prabhupada is saying, and this was just on a side note, that who are Paramhamsas? So they are the Paramhamsas, and they know they are the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Vyasadeva was an empowered divinity, he was the Shaktavesha avatar of the Supreme Lord, he still felt dissatisfaction. Why? Because in none of his works were the transcendental activities of the Lord was properly explained. The inspiration was infused by Sri Krishna directly in the heart of Vyasadeva. So that inspiration was infused by the Paramatma. And thus he felt the vacuum as explained above. It is definitely expressed here with that without the transcendental loving service of the Lord, everything is void. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, everything is tangible, without any separate attempt at fruitive work or empiric mental speculation. So yes, in Bhakti Yoga, when somebody performs, what does it mean? The last line, what does it say? That without the transcendental loving service of the Lord, everything is void. Everything is void. If we are not engaged, actively engaged through our limbs, through our senses in pleasing the Supreme Lord, then everything is what? Is voidism. Just as Prabhupada would normally say that a lover just keeps on saying to his beloved that I love you, I love you, I love you, but doesn't actively show his love by doing some favor, then what does it mean? It is just in air. That love is in air. It is not explicitly, expressfully expressed. Right? So that is what the case is. Even we say that we love the Supreme Lord, then we should do some activity, some service. That is why Prabhupada says Bhakti is not just the sentiment. Bhakti is devotional service. Some service to be done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Apart from that, everything is void. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, everything is tangible without any separate attempt of fruitive work or empiric philosophical speculation. We don't have to explicitly go and perform some karma yoga and jnana yoga. Just performing bhakti yoga, everything is embedded in it. In bhakti yoga, the results of karma and jnana are there. Again, the analogy that Srila Prabhupada normally gives, that if somebody has an $100 bill, then $10, $20, $50 are included in that $100 bill. So if he wants to go shopping and if he has to buy something worth of $50, then having that $100 bill will make him capable to buy something which is worth of $50. So this is the case. The special, he doesn't have to go out of the way to perform any karma and jnana if somebody is performing bhakti yoga. There is a very beautiful verse I like to share. It's Srimad Bhagavatam. Share here only. That specify this point. Everything can be, okay, this verse, let me not read the verse. It's tat karma bhi tatapasa jnana vairagya. Anyway, we'll read the translation. Everything that can be achieved by fruitive activities, that is through karma, through penance, through some austerity, through knowledge, through detachment, through mystic yoga, through charity, through religious duties, and all other means of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. Krishna himself is saying this to Uddhava, that all these, the results of all these activities, whether it's fruitive activities, it's penance, it's knowledge, it's detachment, it's mystic yoga, it's charity, or performing some dharmic activities, religious duties, all things, the perfection of everything is easily achieved by my bhakta. Mat bhakti yogena, mat bhakta labhase anjasa. It's easily achievable through devotional service unto me. If somehow or other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction. So everything is achieved simply by performing bhakti yoga. And that was the missing point that Srila Vyasadeva didn't stress upon, and that is why he was feeling dissatisfied in his heart. So the last verse for this chapter, tam abhignaya sahasa pratyuthaya gatam muni pujayamasha vidhivan naradam surapujitam. So now in the previous verse we saw what happened, that Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dwapayana Vyasa on the banks of Saraswati. So as soon as he saw tam abhignaya sahasa, all of a sudden, sahasa means all of a sudden, from nowhere, Narada appeared. And it was seeing Narada, seeing the good fortune of the visit of the arrival of Narada Muni, which was all of a sudden, Pratyutha agatam muni, our Vedavyas, he immediately got up. He immediately got up and he invited Narada Muni inside. Pujayam, and then he worshipped. Asha Vidhivan. So here Vidhivan, again, it has two meanings. One meaning is Vidhivan. Vidhi also means Lord Brahma. Another meaning of Vidhi is Lord Brahma. So he gave the same respect as to be given or offered to Vidhi or offered to Brahma. He gave the same respect to Narada. Pujayam Asha Vidhivan. So he gave the same respect to Narada as it is given to Lord Brahma. Another meaning, Vidhi, also means some rules and regulation. So he did worship of Narada Muni, Pujayam, he did worship Vidhivat, means following all the rules and regulations that is prescribed in the Shastras. So Vidhivat, with following all the rules and regulation, he did worship. Worship of whom? Narada. He worshipped Narada Muni, who is Sura Pujitam, who is also worshipped by all the demigods. So the position of Narad Muni is very great. He is the son of Lord Brahma. And in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, he comes in that disciplic succession. So it's Brahma, who is our Sampradacharya, then his son Narad Muni, who guided Srila Vyasadeva. So this is how our parampara starts. So that Narada Muni, who is worshipped by the demigods, was also worshipped by Vedvyas as a Vidhivan, giving him the same respect as Lord Brahma, or you can say that he worshipped him with full rules and regulations. Somebody can read the translation.
At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator.
Thank you, Nishamataji. So Prabhupada says in the purport, Vidhi means Brahma. Okay, so that's the meaning of Vidhi. Brahma also means the second name, word for Brahma is also Vidhi, who is the first created living being. He is the original student as well as the professor of the Vedas. He learned it directly from Lord Krishna, then he taught Narada first. So Narada is the second Acharya in the line of disciplic succession. He is the representative of Brahma. And therefore, he is respected exactly like Brahma, who is the father of all vidhis, the regulations. Similarly, all other successive disciples in the chain are also equally respected as representatives of the original spiritual master. So this should be the mood. Everybody should be equally respected as the representatives of the original spiritual master. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the first canto, fourth chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Sri Narada Muni. So this is, we have done, and now we have, what's the time? 8:28. So we still have half an hour. What we will do is, we will see if we have any quick questions. Otherwise, we'll try to cover the next few verses of the next chapter. If somebody has any questions, they can ask, or we can go ahead with the next chapter. Okay, if no such questions are there, then yes, we will continue with our next chapter. And the next chapter is the continuation of where we left, where now Narada Muni will be giving instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. So we'll cover first few verses, and Thursday, Preeti Vilasni Mataji will also give you the entire summary of this fifth chapter, and will cover the future verses also. So text 1. Sutavacha athatam sukhamasina upashinam brahadshava devarshi praha viprashim veena pani smayan iva. Somebody can read the translation.
Sutta
Suta
Goswami.
Goswami.
Sorry, Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Okay, Suta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishis among the Brahmanas, Veda Vyasa.
Thank you, Sham Gopal Prabhu. So Suta Vacha, now Suta Goswami is continuing that how Vyasadeva contemplated, came to the conclusion that he has not explicitly defined devotional service in any of his literature. And as he was contemplating, all of a sudden, Narad Muni came to his cottage and he immediately got up and worshipped Narad Muni. After worshipping Narad Muni, atha tam sukham, he gave him seat, comfortable seat to sit up, to sit. So again, we know that if somebody comes, some atithi comes to our home. So it is atithi. Atithi is one who doesn't give any tithi, who doesn't give any date. So there also Narad Muni, what he says, all of a sudden he came. Right? In the previous verse, we saw that all of a sudden he appeared in front of Vyasadeva. So he gave. Since Atithi comes, what we should give? Three things are very important to be given. First is the seat. We should give them the comfortable seat to sit. Next is give some water to drink. And third is the sweet words. So these three are very important. So our Vyasadeva, what he get? Athatam sukham asina. He made him sit comfortably. Upasina brava shravaha. And what he did, he also sat near Narad Muni. Upasina. And he near to Vyasadeva, near to Narad Muni, Vyasadeva also said, Devarshi praha viprashim veena pani saman eva. So he is Veena Pani. Veena Pani is one who carries Veena in his hand. Narad Muni bhajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name. So he made him sit, the Narad Muni, the one who carries the Veena in his hand. So in purport, Prabhupada says, Narada was smiling. So we see here, Smayan Eva. Smayan means Smita. Smita means he was smiling. Not exactly, but he was in his heart, he was smiling. And that smiling from the heart was reflected on his face. So why he was smiling? Because he knew what is going on in the heart of Vyasadeva. So Narada was smiling because he knew very well that the great Vyasadeva and the cause of his disappointment. As he will gradually explain, Vyasadeva's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the signs of devotional service. Narada knew the defect and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. So Narad Muni also knew the same defect, but again, as we said, that sometimes our mind gives and sometimes the guidance is given by really by Paramatma, but we need to validate, right? So he also wants to validate the same thing. Therefore, he sat near Vyasa, near Narad Muni. Now, why he sat, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that he sat in order to worship Narada. It's not that just offering the seat, the comfortable seat to Narad Muni was enough. But Upashinam, he also sat near Narad Muni because now he wants to worship Narad Muni with some Arghya, Padmya, and other items. He wants to worship. He worshipped Narad Muni, and Narad Muni was smiling. So he was simply smiling. Let's see verse number 2, what Narad Muni has to say. Narada vacha parashraya mahabhaga bhavata kachchidatmana paritushyati sharira atma manasa eva va. So Vyasadeva addressed him as Parashraya. Parashraya means the son of Parashar Muni. So we know that Vyasadeva was the son of Parashar Muni. So he is addressing him as Parashraya. And then also he said Mahabhaga, that you are greatly fortunate. Bhavata Kachchidatmanaha. Then he says, and not only that, you are self-realized. So then he says, what do you think this self-realization is? Identifying oneself with the body is what is self-realization? Identifying with the body is self-realization, or identifying with the mind, kachit atmana, or also with the mind. If somebody thinks that I am mind, I'm this mind, I'm not this body, I'm this mind, is what is satisfaction? Of course not. Kachit atmana means, do you think, oh, he is asking, Narad Muni is asking Vyasadev, that, oh son of Parashar, oh the greatly fortunate person, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, are you self-identifying with the body, or you are self-identifying with the mind? Tell me. So what is the reason for you to lament? So he says, Pratishtati Sharira Atma Manasa Evavi. Why are you feeling so despondent in the heart? Somebody can read the translation.
Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parasara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization?
So he is asking this question because he knows that Vyasadeva is very knowledgeable. So he is asking that, do you think this satisfaction one can get by identifying with the body, or if somebody is identifying with the mind? Is body and mind is the object of self-realization? So this was the hint, Prabhupada says, this was the hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Of course, Vyasadeva in his heart knew that what was the reason, but the spiritual master, Narad Muni, who has come at the ashram of Vyasadeva, started from the lower level. Do you think that identifying with the body or identifying with the mind is actually what is Atma Sakshatkar, is what is self-realization? So Vyasadeva, as the descendant of Parashara, so he's saying, why he said Parashraya? Because he wants to say that you are belonging to a very high parentage. You are the son of Parashar Muni, and who was a great powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage, which should not have given Vyasadeva the cause of despondency. Being a son of great father, he should have not identified with the self, with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with the poor fund of knowledge can identify with the body as self or the mind as self. But Vyasadeva should have not done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is actually seated in self-realization. That is Atma Sakshatkar, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. It is on to the level of soul. So right from the start, Narada Muni is kind of chastising him, and he is addressing that, do you think that identifying with the body and the mind is what is self-realization? And then he continues. Narad Muni continues. Jiknasitam susampannam atite mahat adbhutam kritavan bharatam yastvam sarvatva paribhramitam. Somebody can read the translation.
Your inquiries were full, and your studies are also well fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained.
Hmm. Thank you, Mataji. So he's saying your inquiries, jiknasitam susampannam. You are very well versed in the Shastras. Your inquiries were full and your studies were also fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared this Mahabharata. This is the wonderful book which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So Narad Muni is now telling to Vyasadeva that you wrote such astonishing Mahabharata, which is complete with all the instructions of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And all that one desires in this material body is presented perfectly in your work. So now Narad Muni is praising Vyasadeva. So he says that now you are feeling dissatisfaction. So that means your source of your dissatisfaction is not the lack of scriptural knowledge, because you are very well versed in it. You wrote Mahabharata. So definitely the source of your dissatisfaction is not the lack of some scriptural knowledge. So first he refuted that you are not an ordinary person with a poor fund of knowledge who identify oneself with the body and mind. No, you are beyond that. Not only why, because you are the son of a great Muni, you are Parashraya, you are the son of Parashar Muni, and you are greatly fortunate, Mahabhaga. Not only that, you are Susampannam, you are well versed in all scriptural knowledge also. Why? Because you give the whole complete instructions in Mahabharata. So definitely your source of dissatisfaction is not the lack of some scriptural knowledge. So purport, Prabhupada says, the despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to the lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student, he had fully inquired about the Vedic literatures, and as a result of which Mahabharata was compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. So this is how he's slowly, gradually, he is refuting that this is not the cause of your despondency. This is not the cause of your despondency. And then in the fourth verse, he says, Jignasitam adhitam cha brahma yattat sanatanam tathapi shochasi atmanam akritartha eva prabho. So somebody can read the translation.
You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu?
So yes, so now Narad Muni is telling to Vyasadeva that you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman. Means about the impersonal Brahman also, you know. Adhitam. Adhitam means that knowledge is very well explained by you. So you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman because you have established the personal form of the Supreme Lord, as well as the knowledge that is derived therefrom. Then why you should feel any despondent? So Prabhupada writes, the Vedanta Sutra or the Brahma Sutra compiled by Srila Vyasadeva is a full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted by the most exalted philosophical exposition in the world. It covers the subject of eternity and the methods are scholarly. So there cannot be any doubt about the transcendental scholarship of Vyasadeva. So why should he lament? So now he is saying that there is no reason for your lamentation. You don't have you are not on the level where you identify yourself with the body, neither you are on the level where you identify yourself with the soul, neither there is any reason for you to lament because you don't have scriptural knowledge, nor in this verse he's saying, nor you can say that the reason of your lamentation is lack of realized knowledge. Why? Because not only you have the knowledge, but you have the realized knowledge also. Because in the Vedanta Sutras, when you have written the Vedanta Sutras, you know that what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, what is Bhagavan. So you have understood. Adhitam means, see what Prabhupada writes, Adhitam, the knowledge obtained. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this Adhita means the realized knowledge. One, the knowledge is assimilated, then it is realized, digested, and then it comes out from the heart. So he's saying you are very well. You have assimilated that knowledge, and not only that, you have realized that knowledge. You have understood, you have attained that knowledge. So what can be the cause that you are still feeling despondent? So right now, Narad Muni, no, he knew in the heart that what is there in the heart of Vyasadeva. He knew very well. But he wants Vyasadeva to express in his own words. After that, only Narad Muni will validate that, yes, whatever you are thinking is right. But before that, he's just saying that, oh, you are such a great personality, you have done such a great job, then why you are feeling so despondent in your heart? So I think so we can stop here because the next section is we'll see that what Vyasadeva has to request to Narad Muni to find that what is the defect and whatever he's thinking is right or not. So we will stop here. We are 15 minutes ahead. 6:30, 7, 9 o'clock we have to stop. But it's okay. Let's see if we have any quick questions or comments we can take up. Yes, Sindhu Rao Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for a beautiful class. Please accept my humble obeisances. Sorry, I joined in very late, but I caught the last part of it and I have one question there. If Vyasadeva had all the realized knowledge, why did he not write it? Why he was contemplating? Because somewhere I've read or I've heard that Srimad Bhagavatam was composed after Vyasadeva had his maturity of realization or the true realization. So while he was writing Mahabharata and all these Puranas and Vedas, did he not have, I mean, he had, but did he not have the true knowledge, true realization?
He had, but again, without the intervention of the spiritual master, it's not possible.
Yes, mercy. Yes,
so
very
that
nice.
is what has to be brought up. That has to be highlighted. That without the mercy of spiritual master, then even the personality like Srila Vyasadeva, who was the Shaktavesh avatar, can also not perfect.
Yes, very nice, Mataji. Very nice, very
This
beautiful.
has to be brought in. That is why this entire episode happened.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. And just one realization when you were talking 2 verses before, where you were talking about the parentage of Vyasadeva, right? I was actually correlating to Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, where Krishna says, "You are an Aryan. Why this is? Why don't you know?" Right? It is so similar that it's a repeat telecast. You feel like that. It's the same kind of conversation. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Though he was Aryan, but he says, Anaryan. Why are you Anaryan?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Praladananda Prabhu.
Pranam Mataji, very nice discourse you gave. In addition to those 2 slokas you mentioned about in the 11th canto glorifying Bhakti or superiority of Bhakti, even Bhagavad Gita 8.28 also says that Vedesu Yagnesu Tapasu Chaiva, like that, Also, Bhagavatam says, Akam sarva kamava moksha kamudardhi tivrena bhakti yogena yadet purusham param. So, so those 2 are also additional. But thank you for that 11 because I didn't know that one. Okay, thank you, Mata. Very good.
Thank you, Praladananda. You are a storehouse of all the examples of verses.
Nothing, Mata.
Very nice. Haribol. Yes, Shyama Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the very, I think, beautiful class. I think it's all like very, still I'm trying to understand many of the things. I have to like listen to the recording. My question is when we see the other Puranas, right? Like say Shiva Puran or so there Vyasadeva when he has written, he has like even the Devi Purana. So he has made that particular entity as the center of all action, right? And then he came to Bhagavatam and then he is making Krishna as the center of everything, right? So in when he was writing those like we got this answer from many people, but when he was writing those Puranas, he knew, right, there is a Krishna is a supreme God. So why did he did not mention that in those Puranas? Like he made Shiva as the main, like Durga as the main.
Okay. So Prabhuji, when we have some elementary books, some middle class books, and if you see the author of those books who are writing it for elementary children or for the middle class children, the quality of that author is written that he's PhD in so and so. So if that person is having that doctorate degree in that field, suppose he is writing a book on science, if he has a doctorate of that uh, in that field, then why he is writing the books for the elementary people, for the middle class people? Why can't he write the books only for those who are achieving the master degrees? It is because he wants to cater the need of those people. So when he is writing for the kindergarten, though he is a doctorate, but he wants to cater the need of a kindergarten. How much a kindergarten can understand, or how much an elementary school child can understand, or how much a middle school child can understand. So this is how Vyasadeva also did the same. So he is catering the needs of everybody, those who are in the mode of goodness, those who are in the mode of ignorance, those who are in the mode of passion. So for those who are in the mode of ignorance, they cannot understand the high philosophical truth. So for that, for them, he wrote some Puranas. Those can cater the needs of those who are in the mode of ignorance by establishing their Ishta as the supreme. So normally also it is said that if you come across somebody in Krishna consciousness when you are preaching and you come across somebody who is a Devi Bhakta or who is a Shiva Bhakta, we don't immediately tell them, no, whatever you are doing is wrong. We don't say that, right? Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I give them the faith. I strengthen their faith so that they are on the ladder. They are climbing the building through staircase. So let them do it. I'm giving them the strength. So just to cater the needs of those people who cannot understand Lord Vishnu to be supreme or Krishna to be supreme, he is establishing their Ishta to be supreme. And so when we come across certain people, we don't immediately tell them that whatever you are doing is wrong. But we tell them, okay, whatever you are doing, keep on doing it. But include Krishna, include Mahamantra in your life. And this is how we tell them to, we actually indirectly, we help them so that they can grow spiritually. So this is also mentioned that when we come across such people, we should not immediately tell them. It is their parachute. At least they are on the line. They are on the theistic philosophy that they are worshipping Devi or they are worshipping Ganesha or they are worshipping Lord Shiva. At least they are theistic. They are understanding that there is some supreme power. Let them have it. That's their parachute that's going to help them. So let them have it, but tell them to include Krishna or include Mahamantra in their life. And slowly and gradually, with the potency of Mahamantra, everything will be gone. Why to go further? If we all can reflect our own case, introspect in our own life, we were also the same. Slowly somebody told us and we took Mahamantra and slowly we gradually we developed our faith in Krishna. So this is what Vyasadeva knowingly, but he wrote all these Puranas so that he can cater the needs of all class of people. Hope that helps.
I think this makes more clear. I think the other answers still were little ambiguous, but I think Mataji did really very clear-cut answers. So I think
What
that was
answers you got, but this is
good.
what I understood, and I was like, my spiritual masters helped me to understand, so I'm just giving it to you.
Actually, my other question is to be always like, say, like Shiva gives whatever the devotee wants, his devotee, right? Like one example you had given, like if the 10-year-old wants a cigarette, his father will not give, but a panwala will definitely give him.
Yeah, he will definitely, because he's just bothered about the money.
Yeah, so when this kindergarten people they are learning devotion being devoted to Shiva, and they are asking whatever they want, and Shiva is giving them. Is most of those, right? We see that like even many temples, even the Shiri, like he is not even the god. They are getting what they are asking. So don't they get totally distracted from devotion? Will they like? Isn't that like not a ladder up? It is going to be going down, right?
Of course not. It will help them to progress more and more.
Because they are doing
At
something
some
devotional.
point of time, even Lord Shiva will help them, provided we don't start asking about some material thing. So there are so many devotees. I'll talk about myself also. I was a pakka Shiva bhakta. And I used to do all these kinds of vratas, and I was so fan of Lord Shiva. But slowly and gradually, when I came to that understanding, I still didn't stop worshipping Lord Shiva, but start asking now Krishna Bhakti. So it's not that we give some disrespect to these demigods, definitely not. That will become an aparad. But what we have to do is that we have to ask them for Krishna Bhakti. Krishna says, Mamaiva me prataprapadyante mayam etham tarantite. Those who surrender unto me, even if they have some inclination towards these demigods, this Maya Devi, they will help only. They will only help us to grow in our Krishna Bhakti, to grow in our spirituality.
Thank you, Mataji. I was also Shiva Bhakta. My birth name is Damrudhar, so it came from there.
Nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Sankari Kaur Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my most respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and my pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present here. Mataji, the same thing. I was part of the Wisdom of the Sages group once, and while facilitating one of the sessions, there was this lady from Maine, US. And, when we look at the map of the country, this is like further east part of the country, like absolutely at the corner of the country. And she actually told us that she was a Shiva Bhakta, in the sense that she first started with the yoga, and then she started going to a group where they would be Shiva Bhaktas, and they would actually tell her to worship Shiva. And she said that I started meditating, and she really said that at the core of my heart, I felt that I needed something more. And then she started looking for it, and then she came across the devotees, Hare Krishna devotees, and she got a book of Bhagavad Gita, and then slowly she started going to the center, whatever was available there, and so she got connected to the wisdom of the sages. So she actually said in her words that, I was delivered in the lap of Krishna consciousness by Lord Shiva. And there are so many other students, other people who've shared the same thing. And so my faith in this, that yes, the demigods, they help their own devotees come to the point of Krishna consciousness if they are really desiring to do that. If their desire is really sincere, then the demigods, the demigoddesses also, they really help them come to the lotus feet of Krishna. So that was really a beautiful experience for me to hear it from. So just wanted to share that, Mataji.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Sankari Mataji. Thank you for sharing. Yes, and then when we come to Krishna consciousness, we should not forget, as you said, that lady didn't forget that because of the mercy of Lord Shiva only, she got Krishna Bhakti. So we should never forget.
May I add one point, Mataji, if you permit?
Yes, please.
Mataji, beyond that, I think it is not only we have to, it need not really desire, Mataji. We are real bhakti to them. At one point, they believe that he should give us something more, and then he directs us towards Krishna. At least for me, I felt it that way, because I was also a very staunch prayer for, we have a Shanmuga here, Muruga, and I was then at one stage, I was directed, particularly during COVID, was totally directed to take up Krishna Bhakti. And I think this is his gift. They also direct us, Mataji, even if you don't desire. If they believe that we are good enough for that, they elevate us to the higher fold of devotion. So we must be always grateful, like gurus. They always lift us. The teacher always lifts a student to the next level. That's how I felt, Mataji. That is my understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Definitely. Yes, they will direct us, provided they see some sincerity in our heart.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Mataji, I have a question regarding, it's also from Shiva Puran, because one person asked me, but I was not able to answer completely. Because it's one of the pastime from Shiva Puran. He asked me, like, that is Bhakta Kannappa, like, okay, he had given his eyes to Lord Shiva, so to please him. In the linga from Shiva Linga, like, okay, the blood was coming in, so that Bhakta Kannappa has given one of his eyes first, and then when he want to give the second eye, Lord Shiva appeared before him and given moksha to him, Mataji. So this is from pastime on Shiva Puran. So, but when we say like when Lord Shiva can give moksha, so how do we understand that, Mataji? Like, is that I was not able to answer exactly to him, but yes, I thought.
See, moksha pradayata is only our Mukunda. He is the mukti pradayata. Nobody else can give moksha. But yes, liberation can also be understood by not from the freedom of cycle of birth and death. That is only in the hand of Lord Krishna. He is therefore known as Mukunda, Mukti Pradayata. But liberation can also be understood by getting another life of becoming a devotee of Krishna. Okay. Now, when Lord Nashingadev appearance is coming, 11th Sunday, when we see that Lord Nashingadev gave benediction to Prahlad Maharaj, that 21 generations will be liberated. Now, what does it mean? That if 21 generations do all kind of nonsense activities, still they will be liberated from the cycle of birth and death? No. There, the word liberation, we have to understand that they will get a chance to take birth in a devotee family so that they can now perfect their life. So that is another meaning of liberation that we have to understand. But the liberation from the cycle of birth and death can only be awarded by Mukunda, by Lord Krishna.
Okay, understood. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Thank you for your assistance. Yeah, go ahead.
I requested for the closed book questions, right, Mataji? The 3 questions. You've seen that
chat?
Yeah, the chat. In the chat, I asked, right, 3 questions. So is the closed book questions, whatever is there in the manual, that is the final one, or and the marks?
The closed book exams you have shared. Bhakti Vaibhav, can you please update the marks for the... Yes, we'll do, definitely. We'll update the marks for the closed book questions. Can we treat closed book questions given the manual as final? Almost, yes, Prabhu, but me and Preeti Vilasni Mataji will again go through. And if some refinement is needed, we'll definitely do it. Based on the marks awarded, we want to come up with the answers, like how many words for the closed. Yes, definitely. So once we update the marks and we both will sit together, we'll go through the entire question bank. If any refinement is needed, definitely we'll do it and we will tell you. So there is no hurry, I think so, because right now we are just in the 5th chapter and the first closed book exam will happen after 11th chapter.
Yeah,
So
Mataji, but we need to also write for
I know you
whichever
have
we
to all have
finish,
to
right? Yeah, whichever is finished.
Vilasni Mataji, you are on the call. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, once we can go through. If there is any refinement, we can do. Otherwise, we'll just assign the marks.
Sure.
Mostly we'll end up refining as my suspect. Yeah.
Mostly what?
We'll end up refining as my suspicion, I said.
We'll end up refining it. Yes, of course we will.
I always want to give what is there on the question bank, but then we have a very bad history of changing things. So.
Yeah, but what Prabhu is asking, when?
When? Next week?
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, slokas also, Mataji, there's a repetition from the first test as well as in the second one. There are certain slokas that are...
No. Don't worry
We'll
about
give you.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah. Second test, we'll give you like a Word document like how we did for test 1. No? Like that we'll do for second.
Yes,
Look,
Mataji, we are all slow learners, Mataji. So if you give now only, we'll take 2 months.
Correct. I was about to say, we are slow learners. Please give the test to immediately.
Okay, we can do that test 2 and then we look at the closed book exam also.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji. We learn it slowly and then by heart.
Okay.
And the
Sure.
submitted shlokas when you will listen to and will just give us a passing marks or something like that.
Yeah, that team will work, Prabhu. Right now, they are working with our last batch of Bhakti Shastri. So they are working on that for the NOD section. And after that, they will come to Bhakti Vaibhav and they'll check with the shlokas that you have submitted. So give some time. We have a very small team. Yeah. But we'll definitely give you the answers. And this Preeti Vilasni Mataji will sit during weekend or maybe on Friday and we can work on it.
Friday.
Okay.
But Mataji, you're saying small team, but the way you're organized now is so nice, exams and everything, because the time when we joined, everything was unorganized, but now it is so organized. So happy to
it's
see
all
this.
Because of you all. The first batch helped us. You were the first batch, it was the first thing and you all helped us to refine our process also. So glories to all of you. See, we all learn at different stages of life, right? So we are all learners. Okay, Krishnavani Prabhu, you want to say something? We have not ever heard your voice, Prabhu. So Krishnavani Prabhu is father of Nisha Mataji. I don't know, he unmuted, but he's not saying anything. That's okay. Okay, dear devotees, then we can end up here. Let's pay our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai Shila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Kirtida Sundari
Sundari Mataji ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.